looked at this list of the best that could happen. And I said, does that list give me the courage I need to face down and clear my worst fear? You bet it does. And that day, I did a journey process and got to the root cause of what had put that primal fear in place. And I cleared it out. And the next day, I went and got a roommate at the meditation center. The next day, I started calling my friends. Within a month, I had seminars happening all over America. And within a year, it started getting into newspapers, magazines, television shows. Year after that, the book was written, and I had no idea. And here we are, 26 years on, and now the journey's in 39 countries and in 24 languages. And I'm working with medical doctors and psychiatrists and psychologists, people from all walks of life. All because that day, I was willing to ask the simple question in this mini process that I'm going to take you through right now. What is the worst that could happen? And how does that make me feel? So right now, I'd like you to write at the top of your page on the left-hand side, write, what's the worst that could happen? And on the right-hand side, how does that make me feel? And now you've already written down, you've taken a minute or two, you've already written down some of the worst fears that are coming up for you. So what I'd like you to do is, among all the fears that you wrote down, you may have written 3, 5, even 10 fears down. What's the worst among them that's really been coming up for you lately? What is the worst among them? And ask yourself, okay, this is the worst fear. What's the worst that could happen? Close your eyes and make a picture. What is the worst that could happen? And now ask yourself, as I open with this picture, how does it make me feel emotionally? And open your eyes and write it down. What's the worst that could happen? You've written that at the top of the page. What is the worst that could happen? Write it down right now on that left-hand side of the page. And now, how does that make you feel emotionally? Write that on the right-hand side of the page. And now close your eyes again. And then ask again, okay, if that happened, if the worst happened, then what's the worst that could happen? Make a picture. How does that make you feel emotionally? Just opening with that for a moment. Opening your eyes. And what was that worst picture? Write it down. And how did that make you feel emotionally? Write that down. Okay, close your eyes again. And now just asking yourself, if that picture actually happened, well, then what would happen? What's the worst that could happen? Let a picture come up for you. As you look at the picture, how does it make you feel emotionally? Now opening the eyes. And again, write that down. If that happened, then what would happen? Write down what the picture was that showed up. And write down how it made you feel. Close your eyes again and ask again. Well, if that happened, then what's the worst that could happen? What is the worst that could happen if that were to happen, that picture? What's the worst that could happen? I mean, in my case, by this point, I was already on the streets of New York, and the worst that could happen is I would die. But I don't know what's the worst that could happen in your case. So just make a picture of what the worst that could happen. And how does it make you feel emotionally? Opening your eyes and write it down. Just write it down. Write down the picture and how it made you feel. And let's keep going until you're going to get to the worst that could happen to any of us, which is the fear of non-existence. Non-existence of the mind, the body, our identity, ourselves. So again, asking, if that happened, what's the worst that could happen? Make a picture. How does it make you feel emotionally? Opening your eyes, writing it down, write down the picture, the worst that could happen, how it makes you feel. And eventually, you will dissolve into that nothingness, into a non-existence of a mind, of a body, of an identity, of an image. And just open and let that happen. I'm just asking, who am I? Who am I? When all has fallen away, what remains? Who are you? Just feel yourself opening and melting into your own essence. This form free, mind free, body free, endless field. Of presence, love, of peace. Just asking, who am I? Keep opening and expanding in this. And opening your eyes and just circling your worst fear. Make a promise to yourself that you're going to, that deepest fear, you're going to do a journey process to clear it.